The City of Boston Zoning Board of Appeal hearing for July 7th is now in session. This hearing is being conducted in accordance with the applicable provisions of the open meeting law and the executive order of Governor Baker suspending certain provisions thereof due to the ongoing public health crisis. This hearing of the board is being held remotely via the WebEx event platform. This hearing is also being live streamed. In order to ensure this hearing of the board is open to the public, members of the public may access this hearing through telephone and via video conferencing. The information for connecting to this hearing is listed on today's hearing agenda, which is posted on the public notices page of the city's website, boston.gov. Members of the public will enter the virtual hearing as attendees, which means you will not see yourself on the screen and you will be muted throughout, unless administratively unmuted when asked to comment. As with our in-person meetings, comments in support will be followed by comments in opposition. The order of comments is as follows: elected officials, representatives of elected officials, and members of the public. The number of people called upon to offer comment and the time for commenting will be limited by the chair as time constraints require. For that reason, the board prefers to hear from members of the public who are most impacted by a project, that is, those individuals who live closest to the project. If you wish to comment on an appeal, please click the raise your hand icon in the application via the WebEx event platform. To raise your hand, click the participant information icon. From there, find your name, and on the lower right-hand side, you should see a hand-raising icon. Click the icon and your hand will be virtually raised. Click it again and your hand should go down. If you are connecting to the hearing by telephone, please press *3 to raise your hand. Those called upon to comment will be asked to state their name and address first, and then can provide their comment. In the interest of time and to ensure that you have enough time to do so, please raise your hand as soon as Mr. Fortune reads the address into the record. These instructions will be repeated throughout the hearing. Prior to calling on to Mr. Fortune to start on the agenda, I'd like to just pick up a case that was heard last week, that is June 30th. The case was 11 Dana Road in Hyde Park. We request that both the abutters and the attorney representing the property owner submit all comments in to the board and exchange comments by this Friday, June 10th. I made an error last week forgetting that Friday was July 4th. With that, can we go ahead, Mr. Fortune, and start with the agenda, please?
Madam Chair, you might want to correct the date. You said June 10th, you meant July 10th, I believe.
I'm sorry?
You said June 10th, I believe you meant July 10th.
I do. What's wrong with my brain today? July 10th, thank you.
You're welcome, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'm going to be calling the first order of business. Are there any deferrals or withdrawals for today's cases? Madam Chair,
yes,
we do
I have a referral.
case.
I do.
Okay, go ahead. The address, please.
Calumet Street,
You're deferring,
190 Calumet.
You're deferring it, sir?
Yes,
All right, calling case BOA 190 Calumet Street. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Timothy Burke, and my address is 142 Berkeley Street in Boston, and I'm representing the owner as the architect.
So, Mr. Burke, why is the applicant requesting a deferral on this?
We were stopped in our community review process, so we haven't been able to meet with the Community Alliance yet, and I've spoke with the mayor's office, and they asked me to wait and try to meet with them before we appeared before the board on this case. So it was a result of the pandemic, and I've been in touch with Community Alliance. They have not set up a schedule yet, but they are working on it.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Make a motion for deferral.
I second. Joe Rivera.
Mark Fortune
All
made
those
the
in favor?
motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The date, please.
We have a date of September 29th.
Yes, that should be fine. Yes.
September 29th at 11:30.
Thank you very much.
Are there
Thank
any
you.
other cases for deferral or withdrawal? Madam Chair, we do have a withdrawal, so I'm going to read it in for the record. Calling case BOA 1012912, 46 Bellamy Street. We have a letter from the proponent. He's withdrawing his project, so I'll make a motion for denial without prejudice.
Is there a second?
Second. Joe Rivera.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals if anybody has raised their hand?
Wait, I have a question. Wait, what the fuck?
You're unmuted.
Okay, so for 46 Bellamy Street, sorry, I stepped away. What was the outcome?
It was denied without prejudice, and who are you?
Sorry, I'm Orla Roach, the neighbor.
Okay, it's denied without prejudice, so we will wait for a new submittal.
Okay, thank you.
You see anything? Madam Chair, I'm going to call the first order of business as the board final arbiter, calling case BOA 828-747, 198 Hanover Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Mr. Lenz, you're unmuted.
This isn't my case. I'm not 198 Hanover.
Is Rebecca Lee on? Or a representative from Mintz?
Rebecca
Madam
Lee
Chair,
is
she's
present.
on
We
the
just need
attendee
to.
list with a raised hand.
Rebecca?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, please put your name and address on the record and tell us what you're proposing.
Sure. My name is Rebecca Lee. I'm a member at Mintz. We represent the proponent. This is a case where the board granted a change in use from retail to bank and ATM. And Citizens Bank is going to occupy the space, and they have asked to expand slightly the amount of space. So this is just an arbiter request to confirm that the prior relief granted is valid, notwithstanding the change in the amount of space to be occupied.
And how many square feet is the proposed extension?
It will expand by approximately 1,000 square feet.
Okay.
And the building will have 2 retail,
Okay.
3.
Any questions from the board? May I have a motion, please?
Mark's muted. I'll make a motion to approve.
Please, your name?
Joe Rivera.
Thank you.
Tyrone.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. You're all set.
Calling the first case, calling BOA 103-5808, 65 Gov Street. This is the applicant seeks to amend the plans to alter interior and exterior of an approved two-family dwelling and reduce off-street parking from 2 spaces down to 1. The violations, Article 27T, Section 9, East Boston iPod applicability. Article 53, Section 56, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 53, Section 9, the floor area ratio is excessive. Article 53, Section 9, usable open space is insufficient. Article 53, Section 9, the side yard is insufficient. And Article 53, Section 9, the rear yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Richard Lins, 245 Sumner Street, East Boston. On behalf of the petitioner, David Lank. This application is, as the secretary indicated, a proposal for an existing, already approved two-family dwelling, I should say. The board had granted relief to allow for this, this project to move forward as a two-family some time ago. There's been some modifications to it based upon the review and decision of Mr. Lank to occupy the property as his primary residence. So we're back before the board to present those modifications, which I can run through briefly. I believe the secretary is controlling the slide, or am I controlling that?
Mr. Lins, one question. When was this before the board?
I believe it was before the board and approved about a year and a half, 2 years ago. The permit, the building permit for the existing two-family, or the approved two-family, had already issued. And so now we're simply amending that permit, which has triggered a few technical violations on the issued permit already.
So please, Steph, can you help us on this?
So as I mentioned, this project is to amend the existing permit for a two-family dwelling. We would reprogram the building as well as the exterior design, which would include the addition of a roof deck. We're actually proposing to reduce the parking from 2 spaces to 1 space. And upon completion, this would be intended for home ownership with 1 unit, as I mentioned, the larger unit being owner occupied. We can probably flip down to the neighborhood context. There we go. So as you can see right here, the foundation has already been constructed on the originally issued building permit, and we are proposing to, again, modify, as I included with the plans, the already approved condition. This is located on the corner of Gove and Bremen Street, relatively short walk to Maverick Square and Maverick T Station. Next slide. You could probably jump to the next one as well, this is the same plan. So we're showing the footprint here with the setback in the rear at about 4 feet. This condition doesn't change from the previous condition that was already approved. The only change would be, rather than having 2 parking spaces at the lower level, we're now simply proposing 1, which would also result in a smaller curb cut along Bremen Street. So you can flip to the next slide.
So, you know, before we go, because we do have a long agenda and we need to make sure that we give all applicants adequate time. Mr. Lins, may I just jump directly to the fact that our general concern is that the relief goes with the property and not with ownership. So I would like to find out the rationale for eliminating a space.
Right. So
Because it looks like the FAR, usable open space, rear, all those violations were probably violations from before.
that's correct.
Speak to us about the parking and the roof deck.
Sure. So the original plan utilized the 2nd and 3rd level for probably equal size units with more parking at the lower level and some common space at the lower level. This modification actually reduces one of the units down to a studio, about 575 square feet, and then increases the upper level, makes it a sort of a 2-level concept on the second and third level, which would be the owner's unit. And again, this has all been owned or intended to be developed by the same owner. It just, he had made a decision to make this, a larger place for his family. So this will allow for about 1,600 square feet of livable space in the owner unit. And then also adding a proposed roof deck on the building.
And what's the dimension of the roof deck and what is the access to the roof deck?
We can flip to the next slide. I think I have that show on here. So the roof deck, as you can see, is set back to the rear portion of the building and then slid over to the right side. I would say it's probably about 300 square feet or so. If we go to the elevation, we can see the access to the roof deck as well.
So is it by a head house then?
So there is a head house shown on the plan, but I think the additional elevation, if you're looking at it from Bremen Street, actually shows it as a hatch. So it's keeping it below the line of the proposed railing of the deck.
Okay, and tell us about the parking again. And so that parking would go with the larger unit, with the 1,600 square foot unit?
That's correct. So the owner's unit would have the parking space, access from Bremen Street.
Okay. Can you please stay on the call? Mr. Ehrlich, how are the plans?
Well, I'm a little confused by two issues, the ones that you raised, Madam Chair. The elevations that Mr. Lin talked about, one shows a full head house and the other shows a hatch. So I guess the question is, which is it?
It's a hatch, Mr. Ehrlich. I think what we're showing is when you raise the hatch level, we're just showing the height in that front on elevation from Bremen Street. We're showing the height of how the hatch opens, but the better view is the Bremen Street view, which is the one to the right, that actually shows the height of the hatch when fully open. So we're just depicting what the view would look like if the hatch were open, but obviously sensitive to the head house issue.
Okay, so the north elevation, the one on the left, is with a hatch open. That's why it's above, right? Okay.
Yep.
Well, if we approve this, though, we'll obviously have a proviso about that. The second issue is on the parking, and Mr. D'Amico from BTD has weighed in, and I agree with him, which is when it was initially 2 spaces, there was a net gain of off-street parking because the curb cut was replacing 1 parking space. Now it's no gain, it's 1 for 1. When you've got just 1 parking space, and historically the BTD and this board has not approved curb cuts and off-street parking if all it was going to do was replace 1 currently available street parking with an off-street parking and eliminate the street parking. So there's no net gain. So that's not a great solution.
No, we understand that, Mr. Ehrlich. We had raised that with the community as well to indicate that, the alternative would be to do no parking, which, could have a similar effect. And the community fully understood that issue. And this is somewhat of a sensitive area because it is close to Maverick Square. But the community did wholeheartedly support and endorse the revisions, including, a lot of what you'll see in the rendering, the updated materials of what we're proposing for this building. I do understand the issue, and we did raise that with the Maverick Central Neighborhood Association, and they specifically.
We take a little bit of a different point. Our viewpoint is that you're going down from 2 to 1, and so the relief that you're requesting is greater. And apropos to Mr. D'Amico's and Mr. Ehrlich's point, that is something that we will consider as we proceed with this hearing. Any other questions, Mr. Ehrlich?
No, the rest of the plans are fine.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Lina Tramelli with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I would like to go on the record in support. The Office of Neighborhood Services held an abutters meeting on February 12th, and there were no concerns from the abutters, and also this proposal received the support from Maverick Central Neighborhood Association. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ricardo Patron from the Office of City Councilor Lydia Edwards. The councilor would also like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Any other raised hands in support? Mr. Coven, are you seeing any other raised hands?
I see one other raised hands, a Tony No. The host could unmute Mr. No.
Mr. No, you're unmuted.
Oh, hey guys, I was just trying to figure out how to click the thing. I
Yes,
clicked
that's
it on accident.
So please put your name and address on the record and tell us if you're in support or in opposition.
He's on a different case. He raised his hand in error.
Okay. Is anybody raising their hands in opposition to Grove Street?
Madam Chair, Secretary here. We have two letters of opposition, one from an abutter in regards to parking, going from 2 to 1. And then we do have one from the Maverick Central Neighborhood Association. It looks like they voted 5, 2, and 1, but with 3 provisos. And it said, should any of these conditions mentioned above be changed or altered, this board and its members do not approve, and we ask that the project be resubmitted for another review and vote. Did you hear that?
I couldn't hear that, Madam Chair. I just,
All right, let me read it again. This is from the Maverick Central Neighborhood Association. This is a response to the concerns and questions raised by the abutters. There was a 5 yes, 2 no, and 1 abstain to the understanding and the following conditions will be met. And there were 3 conditions. The building will be no higher than the approved permitted design. Roof deck to have a minimum of 5 feet setback from the roof edge. No glass or plexiglass is to be used, only approved of similar materials in like kind of other neighboring homes to be used in the roof deck area. And should any of these conditions mentioned above be changed and or altered, the board and its members do not approve, by David Sampson. So that was the Maverick, but it looks like they approved, but with those conditions.
yeah, I do have a copy of that. I agree. I think that we're consistent with what they've provided.
Okay, Mr. Lutz, can you please hold on? Given the discussion, may I have a motion, please? Because there is a possibility of approving the roof deck and denying the request for reduction in parking spaces.
Yeah, this is Mark Ehrlich. I'm going to make a motion to approve with the following provisos, that BPDA design review, which should reflect the issues raised by the neighborhood group. Secondly, that there is a hatch on the roof deck. And third, that there is no parking relief.
Is there a second?
Second, Tyrone.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Lenz.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to call the next case, calling BOA 959-516, 139 Everett Street. This is to confirm occupancy of one-family dwelling and change to a 2-family dwelling to include combining of lots, roof deck, and new exterior egress. The violation is Article 27T-5. This is in the East Boston iPod. And Article 53, Section 9, insufficient rear yard setback. Name and address for the record, please.
139 Everett Street, East Boston.
Your name, please?
My name's Anthony Del Vecchio. I'm the general contractor.
So please tell us what's being proposed.
We had an existing 2-family that we renovated here that we converted back into a 2-family.
Okay, and is there any dwelling space, any living space in the basement?
Yes, there is.
Tell us what the use of the basement space is and what the floor-to-ceiling height is.
The floor-to-ceiling height is 8 feet. There is 2 bedrooms down there and about 2 bathrooms.
And 2 bathrooms?
Yes.
And what is this proposed square feet of each unit?
Each unit roughly could be 1,200 square feet, roughly.
And tell us about the roof deck. What's the dimension of that roof deck and how is it proposed to be accessed by?
There's a set of stairs going up there with an entry door, and the roof deck is roughly maybe 15 by 16.
And is it by hatch access or head house access?
Head house.
It's head house, and as you speak, has the work already been done?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so just stay on the line, please, while we proceed with our deliberations. Mr. Ehrlich, how are the plans?
Did I just hear the gentleman say that the head house has already been built?
Yes, but that doesn't preclude us from making an independent decision.
No, I fully understand that. I just wasn't aware of that. The drawings are okay, with the exception of the head house access.
Okay, and everything is kosher in the basement?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Are there any raised hands to speak in support of this project?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Lina Tramelli with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I would like to go on the record in support. We held an abutters meeting on September 30, and there were no concerns from the abutters. And during the community process, this proposal received support from the abutters and from Jeffries Point Neighborhood Association. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ricardo Patron from the Office of City Councilor Lydia Edwards. The council would also like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody else to speak in support, or is any raised hands in opposition?
Madam Chair, the Secretary here, we have one letter in support from the Jeffries Point. I know it was just mentioned by the Mayor's office, but we do have the letter.
Thank you. Any raised hands in opposition, Mr. Coburn?
No other raised hands, Madam Chair.
Given that information, may I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion for approval of BPDA design review and with the head house transformed into hatch access.
Second.
Tyrone.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And complete clarification to the applicant that motion is to eliminate the head house and replace it with a hatch. Okay, thank you.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 102-8707, 597 Saratoga Street. This is to install a new first and second floor rear deck. The violations, Article 9, Section 1, extension of a non-conforming use is conditional. Name and address for the record, please.
Oh, how to talk? With the mood up.
Miss Chan, you're unmuted.
I'm here, but I don't know how to talk in there.
Just talk, we can hear you. Please put.
Oh, you can hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Put your name and address on the record, please.
Okay, my name is Lakena Chan.
Okay.
I'm the owner of the property at 597 Saratoga Street, East Boston, MA 02128.
How many units in that building?
That home is single family with ADU.
And do you live in the building?
Right now we are in the renovation to change the plan so yeah, I am moving in after it's done.
Okay, and it has an ADU, did you say?
Yeah, it's single family with ADU.
Okay. Mr. Ehrlich, how are those decks?
The drawings are fine.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody going to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Lina Tramelli with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I would like to go on the record in support. During the community process, this proposal received support from the abutters at the abutters meeting held on February 6th, and also from members of the Harborview Neighborhood Association. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ricardo Patron from the Office of City Councilor Lydia Edwards. The council would also like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Is anybody to speak in opposition?
Madam Chair, I see no raised hands.
Okay, given that information, may I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve. Joe Ruggiero.
Second, Tyrone.
Who made the second, please?
Go ahead, Tyrone.
Tyrone did the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Calling your next case, calling BOA 105-1275, 14 Falcon Street. This is to rebuild an existing front porch on first floor and enclose the top of porch to enlarge a bedroom on the second floor. The violation is Article 53, Section 9, the floor area ratio is excessive, and Article 53, Section 9, the front yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning. My name is Eileen Rosa from Rosa Design and Construction. It's Steiner, representing the owners, Oscar Diaz and Gabriela Diaz, right next to me.
Please tell us what's being proposed.
Sure. So our proposal is to rebuild existing front porch, keeping the same footprint on the first floor, and enclose on top of the porch to enlarge bedroom on the second floor.
And is this a one family or a two family?
It is a one family.
And is it owner occupied?
Correct.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
Drawings are fine.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Lina Tramelli with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, and I would like to go on the record in support. During the community process, the applicant addressed most of the concerns of the abutters at the abutters meeting held on March 11. Also, this proposal receives support from members of the Eagle Hill community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ricardo Patron from the Office of City Councilor Lydia Edwards. The councilor would also like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Anybody else to speak on this proposal? Any raised hands?
Madam Chair, I'm not seeing any raised hands.
Okay, given that information, may I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve with design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you.
Calling your next case, calling BOA 105-1994, 236 Lexington Street. This is to renovate an existing third floor and in addition to the third floor. The violation is Article 27G. This is in the East Boston iPod. Article 53, Section 52, roof structure restrictions. Article 53, Section 9, the floor to area ratio is excessive. Article 53, Section 9, side yard is insufficient. And Article 53, Section 9, the rear yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Mohan, I'm an agent for Joseph Souza, who is the head of Bowen Builders Incorporated, who has purchased this property. It is a three-family unit, 236 Lexington Street. Quite some time ago, a major part of the third floor was burned extensively, and the owner at the time just did a patch job on the third floor, and about a half of the third floor remained as storage space, and it looked lousy. Repairs were not significant, but this current owner would like to rebuild that third floor as it was, and to the same living space as the first and second floor. We have gone through extensive meetings, as you'll hear, with unanimous support all the way along the line. The neighborhood was very happy to see that this is going to be fixed up.
Okay, and this will, so this will increase the size of that top unit? Is that what it is?
Yes, it makes it conform with the exact size of the first floor and the second floor.
And what's the unit size then?
Unit size is 145 square feet per floor.
I'm sorry, how many square feet?
1245, 1245.
Thank you. Please stay on while we proceed with our discussion.
Certainly.
Mr. Ehrlich,
The drawings are adequate.
any questions from the board? Is anybody on to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Lina Tramelli with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I would like to go on the record in support. During the community process, this proposal received support from the abutters at the abutters meeting held on March 11, and also from members of the Eagle Hill community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ricardo Patron from the Office of City Councilor Lydia Edwards. The councilor would like to go on the record in support of this proposal.
Thank you. Any raised hands, either in support or in opposition?
Madam Chair, no raised hands.
Given that information, may I have a motion,
Madam Chair,
please?
you didn't ask for opposition.
Pardon? Anybody to speak in opposition? No raised hands, right,
Madam
Mr.?
Chair, the secretary here, we have 2 letters of opposition, one in regards to the stairs and another one losing the effect of sunlight.
Okay. Okay, we noted those two notes of opposition. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second, Tyrone.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Madam Chair, that was my mistake. Those letters of opposition for the next case, so please strike that.
Okay. Okay. Let the record reflect that.
I'm going to call the next case, calling BOA 1051753, 7 Wallace Court. This is a new gut renovation of residence, new electrical, plumbing, interior, sprinkler. Renovations include new siding and deck, new insulation, wallboard, new bathrooms, kitchen, build a new interior stairs, and finish trim. The violations, Article 62, Section 25. Name and address for the record, please.
Hey, my name is Brian Heenahan. I'm the contractor representing the homeowner, Russell and Emma Fonsby, for 7 Wallace Court.
Okay, may I get some clarification? What is violation 62-25? Is that yard violation?
Roof structure restrictions.
It's roof structure, okay? So please tell us what's being proposed, Mr. Hennigan. Tell us what's being proposed.
We are putting on a front and rear dormer on the existing roof, not adding square footage, just heat height.
And is this proposed as a 1-family, 2-family? What is it?
It's a single family, 4 floors, existing.
Okay. And tell us about how many square feet is going to be added with that proposed dormer?
We're not adding any square footage. It was existing living space.
Yeah.
If you look, there's a knee wall from the 3rd floor window that was 5 feet tall. So it was living space. You could walk out to the knee wall within 5 feet. It's just adding headroom for a bathroom.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And is there a deck proposed or anything?
There's a deck getting added at the rear of the house. Yes, it's 10 feet by 16, 10 by 18 is the deck at the rear of the house on the 1st floor off the kitchen.
Okay. And then the access down is via stairs, okay?
Yes.
How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
Drawings are fine.
Any questions from the board?
No, we're good.
Is the representative for the applicant, please stay on the line, but just be quiet, okay, if you can. Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is Quinlan Locke with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I'd like to go on record in support of this proposal. An abutters meeting was held on March 9th, was lightly attended by neighbors, and there were no issues at that time.
Thank you.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ricardo Patron from the Office of City Councilor Lydia Edwards. The councilor would like to go on the record in support of this proposal.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in opposition?
Madam Chair, the secretary here, as I stated the previous case by mistake, the two letters are opposition. One was for the stairs and the other is losing the sunlight from abutters.
So one was the stairs, so is that the stairs from the deck, right?
Yes, let me just read it real quickly here. They're concerned about the stairs leading from the new deck to the garden level. It would invade in their privacy. And the other is just that it would affect the sunlight.
Thank you. Given that information, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with design review, even though it's de minimis. There probably ought to be design review to make sure that the neighbors' concerns are reflected.
And that's for the rear stairs?
Yeah, I am the dormer.
Okay.
Second, Tyrone.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 107-1229, One Financial, CN. This is a change of occupancy from a restaurant to a restaurant with takeout, no work to be done. The violation is Article 44, Section 10, restaurant with takeout, fast food restaurant. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, this is Brittany Walsh representing SCUDA at One Financial Center.
So tell us what's being proposed.
So we will be setting up 2 6-foot folding tables in a vacant space to serve lunch from 11:30 to 1:30, Monday through Friday.
And what is this vacant space?
The space has been vacant for years. It is a room in, the building's first floor.
Okay. And what's the name of the restaurant again?
So we partner with local restaurants and bring them into the space on a rotating basis.
And so what's the name of the business that will be running this?
It's FUDA.
Okay. Because we need to make sure is this your first venture into this model?
Into this space, yes, but we are doing this all around the city.
Okay, so then you must be familiar with the takeout language?
Yes.
Yes, okay. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
They're existing plans, they're fine.
Okay, any questions from the board? Is anybody on to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Lisa High with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Due to COVID-19, we want to be helpful and be of support to businesses, so therefore the Mayor's Office would like to go on record to support.
Thank you. Anybody else on the line to speak either in support or in opposition?
Madam Chair, Ana Calderon from Councilor Flynn's office. We're not necessarily speaking in opposition to this case, but the Councilor Flynn is seeking a deferral this time due to concerns from the neighbors. In the Leather District Neighborhood Association, they have concerns about community process and whether the open space is now being used for business purposes. Councilor Flynn would like to receive that information from the applicant before a decision is made on this case. We are asking for a deferral this time to give the applicant an opportunity to provide information to the neighbors, the civic group, and Councilor Flynn. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a response from the applicant? There were a couple of issues raised there. Can you respond to them, please?
Sure, I apologize. Can you repeat what the issues were?
Anna, would you mind just stating what the issues are?
Of course. So we heard from the neighbors and the neighborhood association about a community process and whether they have concerns and questions that are unanswered. and they would like to meet with the applicant before the board makes a decision on whether the space is being used for a business purpose, because looks like this was a benefit from the BCA and it's now being used as a restaurant. So people want to know what you know, want to have a community process, so all the questions are answered. And it's just issues about community process and the space being used for a restaurant purpose.
So Anna, this is for restaurant purposes only from 11 to 1:30, Monday to Friday, is my understanding, right?
Yeah, well, that we learned that now, but we didn't know this, and the neighbors don't know this, so then we meet with the neighbors so they have a community process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Ms. Walsh, I just want to make sure that I need a couple of questions answered. Will you be using Boston restaurants, or will you be using out-of-city restaurants?
We use a variety of Boston and outer city restaurants. The majority of outer city restaurants will be coming from Cambridge or surrounding areas. No food will be cooked on site. It's very similar to a catered event. The primary difference is that patrons will be paying individually opposed to group orders.
And how do we make sure that, in fact, Boston businesses are given preference in some way?
Absolutely. So the restaurants that we partner with are scheduled primarily according to location. And so we will schedule the restaurants of Boston more frequently than outside restaurants.
Okay. We anticipate that you will be in touch with the community groups to clarify for them exactly what you're doing.
Absolutely.
May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve with a proviso that the applicant contact Councilor Flynn's office and set up those community meetings as soon as possible.
And can we have this for a period of time and have them come back?
Yeah, can we put
Maybe a year or something?
Yeah, can we put a 1 year on it?
Yes, thank you. So that's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. When you come back in a year, we want to see how many Boston restaurants, small Boston restaurants, you've managed to support, okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Calling the next two cases, calling BOA 1038709, 81 Warren Avenue. There is a companion case, BOA 1038708, 81 Warren Avenue. This is to install a roof deck with access to a hatch. The violation is Article 64, Section 9.4, Townhouse Row House Extension. We also have building code. Building code is the 9th edition, 780 CMR 1011, and stairways. 1011.12.2, roof access. Where a stairway is provided to a roof, access to that roof shall be provided through a penthouse complying with the section 1510.2. Name and address for the record, please.
Evan Kunz, architect, 38 Greenwich Park, Boston, Mass.
Mr. Kunz, as is our process, we have a building code violation. Can you please address that first?
Yes, this row of row houses is across the street from a City of Boston school. All the roofs are without head houses. 90% of them are without head houses. And we do not want to present a interruption in the lovely Victorian rhythm that is represented by these small row houses. Therefore, we're proposing a hatch in place of the head house, and the hatch lies below the railings of the roof deck.
Okay. Mr. Ehrlich?
Well, yeah, I mean, that obviously is consistent with what our the design desires are. So on the building code, matter of building code relief, I would make a motion to grant the building code relief in this case.
Okay, so now may I have a second on that?
I'll second it. Secretary Mark.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now let's go to the construction of the deck.
Yes, if I'm supposed to speak. We are proposing a deck at the rear, which is approximately 15 feet by 6 feet projection and on brackets. On the roof, we're proposing roof deck that's approximately 16 feet by 20 feet. It's 5 foot back from the rear facade and about 12, depending upon the final decision by the Landmarks Commission.
And tell us about that rear deck. What's the dimension of that rear deck?
That is, I can't quite see it, but the building is 17 feet wide and it's about a foot short on each side, so it's 15 feet.
And how far does it go into the yard?
It's 6 feet.
6 feet. Okay. Thank you. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
The plans are fine.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, where are you in the process of the Landmarks Commission?
Mr. Kuntz?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Where are you in the process with Landmarks Commission?
We have been through the hearing. We were unable to take photographs because there's scaffolding on the front of the building. So that as soon as the scaffolding gets down, they'll come out and look at it and determine now how far back the railing will be. Both of the row houses on each side have decks very similar to what we're proposing. And what we have proposed is a railing that's similar depth of distance from the front. However, we will accommodate whatever the Landmarks Commission feels is appropriate.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Is there anybody to speak and support?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Faisal Sharif with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We did hold an abutters meeting in early March on this project. There were no real concerns that came out of that or with their conversations with the Ellis Neighborhood Association. Again, both the roof deck and the rear deck are in line with existing decks in the south end. We have no further concerns.
Thank you. Is anybody else to speak in support? I noticed Karen, are you going to speak in support of this?
Anna, I would like to speak in support of this.
Oh yeah, go ahead, please.
Hi, Anna from Councilor Fling's office. Would like to go on record in support as we spoke with neighbors and the Ellis Neighborhood Association, who also provided a letter of non-opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody else on the line to speak either in support or in opposition?
Madam Chair, no additional raised hands.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve. There's no need for a BPDA design review. They'll be going through Landmarks.
Is there a second? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
Calling the next two cases, calling BOA 104-3251, 190 West Brookline Street. There is a companion case, BOA 104-3252, 190 West Brookline Street. This is a replacement of an existing roof deck with a new roof deck to match the existing. The violations, Article 64, Section 9, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive, and Article 64, Section 34, the roof structure restrictions. There's also building code. This is the 9th edition, 780 CMR 1011 stairways, 1011.12.2 roof access, where a stairway is provided to a roof. Access to the roof shall be provided through a penthouse, complying with section 1510.2. The exception, in buildings without an occupied roof, access to the roof shall be permitted to be a roof hatch or trapdoor not less than 16 square feet in an area and having a minimum dimension of 2 feet. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Steve Riley. I'm the architect representing the applicant. My address is 28 Woodbine Terrace in Newton.
And Mr. Riley, as is our usual process, please speak to the building code violation. Clarify if there is in fact a fire pit proposed in that space?
So to address the fire pit first, when the drawings were submitted for permit originally, a fire pit violation was identified. We are not proposing a fire pit. We are proposing a hard piped gas fire table. So that I asked the code official to remove that from the application, because that's not something we're looking for relief from. The other building code violation is the head house, which is required by the building code, but not allowed for the zoning code. So we are proposing access to the roof by way of a sliding hatch, which will be below the adjacent railing height.
Okay, so in essence, you're stating that the second piece of relief, the section 9, 780 CMR 101 reference code, 2015 IFC 307.4, which is the location of the fire pit, you're not requesting relief for that?
We are not.
Okay.
It was,
Okay.
yes, we're not requesting.
Okay, so may I have a motion on this building code relief, please?
Yeah, this is Mark Ehrlich. The applicant has included a hatch access, and the drawings do not show the fire pit. They have been updated. The hottest thing that is shown on the roof deck is a hot tub. So that's, I would make a motion to grant relief on the head house in order to use a hatch.
And that is for approval, and this only because it's been cited here. It's a motion for denial on the second request for relief.
Yes. Again, the drawings do not show the fire pit, but since it is part of the the advertisement, I would make a motion to deny the fire pit relief.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Secretary Mark will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now to the
Madam Chair, can I just do a clarification? We did have an updated letter from ISD that they had no fire pit, so that's why I didn't read it into the record. We had an updated letter.
Okay, just because it was advertised and what I have on the agenda.
Very good.
So let's go to the proposal for a roof deck. Mr. Riley, can you speak to that roof deck?
Sure. The roof deck actually was pre-existing. Roof deck needed to be removed so that they could re-roof the building. The re-roofing has been completed, and now we're seeking a permit to rebuild the roof deck in essentially the same footprint as it was before, and accessed by way of a hatch. The size of the roof deck is approximately 325 square feet.
Okay, please, thank you.
Sure.
Let's go over the plans.
The drawings are very nice. It has to the applicant. Is this going through Landmarks?
This has already been administratively approved by Landmarks.
Okay.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, my name is Faisal Sharif with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support of the proposal. I held an abutters meeting on this in early March of this year. We had neighbors present along with the Pilot Block Neighborhood Association. The biggest and only point of contention in which the applicants agreed with the neighborhood on was that hatch access. And so we have no further concerns at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam of the Chair, members of the board, Ana Calderon from Councilor Flink's office. The councilor would like to go on record in support as we spoke with the neighbors and the Pilot Block Neighborhood Association, and there were no concerns reported. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody on the line to speak in opposition? Mr. Colvin?
Chair, no
Yes.
raised hands, Madam Chair.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 104-1965, 135 Carolina Avenue. This is to erect a rear addition to an existing two-family. A violation of Article 14, Section 14-1, lot size is insufficient. Article 14, Section 3, lot width is insufficient. Article 14, Section 4, lot frontage is insufficient. Article 15, Section 1, the floor to area ratio is excessive. Article 18, Section 1, front yard is insufficient. And Article 19, Section 1, the side yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you very much. Cameron Merrill, 100 State Street, Boston, Massachusetts, on behalf of the applicant.
So please start off by telling us, is this a one or a two-family?
This is an existing owner-occupied two-family.
Okay. And tell us what's being proposed.
Certainly. The current owners intend to move from the second floor to the first floor so that they can age in place in their home. And to do so, they want to expand their living room on the first floor. So what this proposal does is simply seeks to expand the living room area on the first floor so that they can move and live in the first floor with an expanded living room kitchen area.
And how large is this proposed addition?
The proposed addition adds approximately 450 square feet to the existing floor area square footage.
Okay, and any proposed work in the basement or anything?
No, I do not believe so. The basement will not be finished under this plan.
And is there also a second floor addition proposed on this?
There are slight modifications, but there won't be an additional space added to the second floor.
Okay, please stay on. In the meantime, Mr. Ehrlich, how are the plans?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Lindsay Santana from the Office of Neighborhood Services. We held an abutters meeting for this proposal on February 13th. That was lightly attended. The applicant received the support of the Jamaica Plain Neighborhood Council. The mayor's office would like to go on record and support this proposal.
Thank you. Any other raised hands, either in support or in opposition?
Madam Chair, we have 14 letters, this is the secretary, 14 letters of support from the neighborhood.
Thank you. Mr. Copeland, any raised hands?
We have a raised hand. Mr. McCleary, you are unmuted.
Great. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Justin McCleary from City Councilor Matt O'Malley's office. The councilor would also like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Since there are no other raised hands, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with DDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Good for you, Carrie, jumping in.
I've tried to a couple times and I'm muted.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 105-7829, 53 Oldfields Road. This is a change of occupancy from a 2 to 3 family dwelling and extend the existing deck into the rear. The violation is Article 50, Section 29, the floor to area ratio is excessive, and Article 50, Section 29, the usable open space is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please. I think you had to vote.
Una. Hello, can you hear me?
Is this Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Yes,
Good morning.
put your name and address on the record and tell us briefly what you're proposing to do.
We are proposing to have to legalize the basement. Existing basement is a one family with a basement. We are proposing to legalize the basement as an independent unit. And then we did a little extension of the rear yard deck on the first floor, about 4 feet by 24 feet extension.
Please clarify for me, is this a one family or a two family?
It's two family, sorry.
It's existing two family, okay.
Yeah.
And tell us, Mr. Ehrlich, can you please look at the plans and tell us about that basement unit? Is there any indication on the floor to ceiling height and the size of the basement unit?
There is not, but actually I also have another question for the applicant. Where are the mechanical rooms?
The mechanical room is in the basement.
Okay.
It's in the basement.
Okay, it's not shown on the drawings, and my question...
It is. It is. When you enter from the back, from the rear, you come down in the basement, it's on the left.
Steph, can you go to the basement plan, please? The proposed basement plan?
Okay, Steph will bring it up. That's the second floor. Go backwards, Steph.
Page 1A. It's on page 1A. Page 1A, basement plan.
Okay, yeah, there it is. Okay, so where are the mechanical rooms?
On the left. When you come down this left, the steps from the rear on the left hand side.
Okay, and if you're making it, and how is this accessed by each of the different, it's accessed by a common stairwell to each of the proposed 3 units?
Yeah, when you come down the steps, you go to the foyer. Then at the foyer, you will see on your left, that's where the mechanical room is.
Okay, and that's the mechanical room for all 3 units, correct?
Yes.
And what's the floor to ceiling height in the basement?
7-8.
Yeah, the floor to ceiling height is okay.
And those bedrooms, do all bedrooms have window wells?
Yeah, they have window wells, yeah.
Okay, and there's 2 means of egress. And what's the size of that basement unit? The proposed size of that unit?
980 square feet. 980 square feet.
I'm sorry, 980 square feet?
Yes, 980 square feet.
Okay, and did you tell us what the size of the proposed deck is?
Yeah, it is, proposed size is, 14 by 24.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
They're okay.
Okay. You sound like you have some reservations.
Well, I mean, the utility room is not called out, and as you know, in a multi-unit apartment, you want to make sure that the access is unfettered. And, you know, I think I understand, but the plans are not clear on that, so they're okay. Leave it at that.
Okay. Anybody on the line to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, my name is Faisal Sharif with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. The Mayor's Office would like to go on record in support of this proposal. I believe the applicant did meet with Project Right in Grove Hall. We've received no opposition thus far, and we have no further concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Moses Borders.
I'm located at 58 Geneva Avenue in Dorchester.
And are you in support or in opposition?
Yes, I'm in support, yes.
Thank you. Anybody else to speak either in support or in opposition?
Yes, hi, my name is Erlene Brown, and I'm in support of the project.
And Ms. Brown, what's your address?
118 Harrison Street in Dorchester.
Thank you. Any other raised hands?
Karen Foley?
Yes, in support or in opposition, Karen? Can we find out if she's in support or in opposition, please? Okay, any other raised hands?
Madam Chair, there are no other raised hands.
Okay, I wonder, Mr. Ehrlich, if design review can take care of that, clearing up and clarifying the basement issue, the utility issue?
Me?
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes. Hello?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the applicant indicated where they were on the drawings, and if that's the case, then I guess it works. The drawings themselves should have been self-explanatory, and they're not.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, then may I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Pharaoh.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good luck.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 103-9219, 12 Denver Street. This is converting a single family to a two-family, add an additional second egress for both units and finished basement. The violation is Article 15, Section 1. The floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Article 18, Section 1. The front yard is insufficient. Article 19, Section 1. The side yard is insufficient. And Article 53, Section 12, the height is excessive. Name and address for the record, please.
Ms. Ambassador, is the applicant on?
Yes. Yes. He's on.
Please put your name and address on the record and tell us what you're proposing to do.
All right, let me just type this down. Tony. My personal address, guys?
I'm having difficulty hearing the applicant. Please put your name and address on the record.
What address? I'm sorry. Is it the address of my business?
Yes. Is this an owner-occupied house?
The owner, I believe, is on here too. Guy, are you here? Can you hear us?
What is your name?
My name is Tony, and I'm the general contractor on the job, and then I believe the owner is also here.
Okay, and what's your last name, Tony?
No, NGO. I typed it in the box for you.
Okay, and your address? Give us your business address.
I'm gonna type it in there, but it's 15 Main Street, number 170.
Okay. Tell us what is being proposed for this building.
So we are doing a variance, a change of use, occupant use from a single family to a two-family, and we already had two abutters meeting, and they were, I believe, successful.
Please tell us how you're proposing to get that second unit. Is it in the basement?
So the second unit is going to be the first floor and the basement, and then I'm sorry, that's the first unit. The second unit is upstairs and the upstairs area.
And tell us what the floor to ceiling height is in the basement?
Oh, man. Guy, can you answer that? In 1 second.
The basement is 8 feet 9, according to the drawing.
Guy, can you hear?
Okay, 8 feet 9, and are there any bedrooms proposed in the basement?
Yeah, there's 1 bedroom, 1 full bath, and a mechanical room.
Okay, and where's the utility box? Does each unit have their own utilities?
Correct. So the first unit will be in the basement. The second unit will be on the second floor.
And tell us
The
about
mechanical room for the second unit will be on the third floor.
Okay, and so tell us the proposed sizes of each unit.
The first unit will be a total of square feet of 1318, and the second unit will be total of 1341.
Thank you. Please stay on while we deliberate. Mr. Ehrlich, how are the plans?
The drawings are adequate, ceiling height, basement is okay, the mechanical room solution is okay, and the egress is okay, so.
Excellent.
Those are the issues.
Thank you. Is anybody on the line to speak in support of this proposal?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Patrick Sandell, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. There were 2 abutters meetings held for this proposal, one on February 20th and one on March 9th of this year. And it also presented to the St. Mark Civic Association with full abutter support. We'd like to go on record in support of this proposal.
Thank you.
Thanks, Patrick.
Any other hands raised?
Madam Chair, no additional raised hands.
Okay, given that information, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Tyrone.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling the next case, calling VOA 105-3485, 54 Danforth Street. This is off-street parking space and a new curb cut. The violation is Article 10, Section 1, the limitation of an area. Off-street parking shall not be located less than 5 feet from the side lot line. Article 55, Section 40, off-street parking loading requirements. Off-street parking shall not be located in any part of the front yard. And Article 55, Section 9, usable open space is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Is the applicant on the line for this?
Yes, this is Vanessa Sarkis. Can you hear me?
Can you try again, please?
Hi, this is Louisa Santos. Can you hear me?
If you have a computer on, can you shut your computer, turn your cell phone off, please? If you have a cell phone connected, please turn the cell phone off.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can now. Please put your name and address on the record and tell us what you're proposing to do.
Okay, so my name is Louisa Santos. I'm the owner of 54 Danforth Street in Plain 02130. And I'm proposing a parking spot next to my house for a single car. So my house is a single family home. It's 900 square feet. And I'd like to be able to park next to my house. My 2 next door neighbors have a parking spot for a single car as well.
Can I ask you, is there parking on that side of the street?
On the street?
Yes.
Yes, there is. And
yes, did you say yes?
Yes.
And your proposal is for 1 parking spot?
Yes.
Okay.
So the street is a very narrow street. I've had my car's left driver's side mirror nicked as people have driven by. I've had a neighbor's car had its bumper taken off by a snowplow. So it'd be obviously helpful not to have my car on the street. Also, it doesn't have resident permit parking on it. So in the morning when I'm back from my daycare drop-off, I don't have a parking spot because I'm right next
Green Street T-stop, and so commuters come in and park. In the evening, I'm right across the street from Spontaneous Celebrations Community Center, and so people who are attending events there also use the street parking, as well people who go to the liquor store next door, they also take up parking on my street. And yeah, I guess I think that it would really be unfair if I wouldn't be able to get a parking spot, considering that it can be a bit dangerous to park in the street. My neighbors have a single car garage.
Okay. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
Well, you can see them yourself. I mean, it is side yard, not front yard parking. But again, we run into the problem, and Mr. D'Amico raises also, it's one for one. You're eliminating a street parking spot for an off-street parking spot without gaining any additional parking. And while I understand the applicant's, concern about losing a mirror and just a narrow street, all that, nonetheless, we have been pretty consistent about not approving curb cuts unless there is net gain of parking spots.
Okay. Is this existing then?
The curb cut is not existing. The previous owners had started, I guess, the fence portion of it, but it's not existing.
So is that your Mini? Is that a Mini Cooper? Is that your car in the yard?
Yeah, so I drove it over the curb just to get a sense of how big the spot is for the pictures. But I don't actually park there right now.
Okay. Can you please stay on the line? In the meantime, is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Lindsay Santana from the Office of Neighborhood Services. We held a butters meeting for this proposal back in March. There was low attendance. The applicant also received the support from Jamaica Plain Neighborhood Council, so the mayor's office would like to go on record and support this proposal.
Thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Justin McCleary from City Councilor Matt O'Malley's office. The council would also like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Any other hands raised?
Madam Chair, can I ask you a question? I had not seen those photos before. So the drawing shows proposed parking. This is an existing condition, correct?
So there isn't a curb cut.
So the only change you're talking about would be the curb cut.
Yeah, and in reality, if you look at the plot, the way the car is parked right there isn't actually how it would be parked. The rear of the car will be where that recycling can is.
In the meantime, are there any other hands raised?
Madam Chair, Secretary here, we have one letter of support from an abutter.
Okay.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I just wanted to clarify that I also attached, I got 2 signatures from neighbors, so in additional support.
Thank you. Last call, any other hands raised?
Ms. Vaxey, you're unmuted.
Hi. I just wanted to say that I heard earlier in the call somebody say that there needed to be I guess a net positive in terms of giving up a space. There needs to be another space for somebody else. So based on my understanding, Louisa would no longer be parking on the street. So that parking spot would just, move to the next side of her house. So nobody would really be losing a spot.
Can you put your name and address on the record, please?
Yep. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how that's happening, but it's Lucia Vasey. I don't know how to put the address on the record.
What's your address?
Oh, my address? 140 Belgrade Ave in Rosendale.
And you're speaking on a Jamaica Plain project?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
This is a single-family dwelling, right?
Yes, and it's 900 square feet. It's a very small house. I guess that's the other reasons I think it would be, unnecessary to have 2 cars for that house.
Okay, given all this information, can the applicant please hold on for a minute while we talk this through? May I have a motion, please? Or if there are any questions, let's get them on the table.
I'd like to make a motion to approve. I think the single-family dwelling is much different than a multi-unit, brand-new building.
Ed DeVoe, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 105-8078, 4403 to 4407 Washington Street. This is to remove the existing proviso of the previous owner and no work to be done in the existing condition. And the owner allowing the current tenant at 4403 Washington Street, CL and Walk Incorporated, to operate the existing restaurant previously known as the Golden House. The violation is Article 6, Section 4. Other protectional conditions are required. Name and address to the record, please.
My name is God Chang. I represent Mr. Chen and CLL Walk. I'm an attorney, and Mr. Chen, the owner of the restaurant, is sitting here with me.
So tell us what's being proposed.
They propose to remove existing proviso number 1 for the previous owner.
Okay. And what is the name of the new owner?
The name of the new owner is the Yan Chen. First name spells Y-A-N. C-H-E-N is the last name.
Okay. And let's see.
For your information, anytime you want me to elaborate, please do, Madame.
Yes, of course. Let me just ask you, does Mr. Chen have experience with takeout?
Yes, many years of experience running a restaurant in New Bedford and here as well.
And in Boston, where did he run his restaurant here?
I don't think in Boston, in New Bedford, right? New Bedford for 10 years.
Okay, thank you. Because we will make sure that he will get a list of what our expectations are for takeout. Okay. Is anybody? How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
Well, you can see the drawings. They're just kind of hand drawn, but no work is anticipated, so it's okay.
Okay. Just want to give you just a minute update. Inspectional services came in June 12th, on June 12th, and there have been no issues. And the health department issued a health permit to my client. So that this will give you an update. An original hearing was scheduled April 28th, and it was postponed to June 30th, and also is postponed until today.
Yes, we're sorry about this. So this is in on Washington Street in Ward 20. Okay. Yes. And what is how many tables do you have in this place? Is it
none?
It's purely takeout. Okay.
Yeah, and Mr. Chen actually bought the restaurant way back in last August 2019. And he has submitted a letter of support, I guess, a letter of confirmation about the landlord, that no changes have been made to the restaurant. The menu, the name, everything has been the same. And I think we obtained a letter of support from the Neighbor Services, Mr. Joseph Carpenter, which has been submitted to the zoning board.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Not with us.
No, so just stay on the line. Let's just go on with our hearing, okay?
Thank you, Chair.
Hello?
Hi, can you tell us, is this Mr. Carpenter?
No, this is Peter Favorito from Councilor O'Malley's office.
Okay, so are you here to speak in support?
Yes, Councilor would like to go on record in support of this.
Okay. Is anybody here, anybody else to speak in support on this?
Madam Chair, it's Joe Coppinger from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support. We facilitated a community process and completed the abutters meeting on December 11, 2019. At that time, we met no opposition, and again, we'd just like to reiterate our support. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, yes, I'm looking at the map, and it is a very small storefront. Okay. Does the building have grates on the front of it?
Gates?
Grates, like those pull-down grates?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. Is anybody here to speak in opposition? Any raised hands to speak at all?
Madam Chair, I see one raised hand. And that person is unmuted.
Please go ahead if you're speaking in support or in opposition to 4403 to 4407 Washington Street, Ward 20.
That hand's the applicant.
Oh, that hand's the applicant. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Given that information, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with the usual takeout language.
Is there a second?
Tyrone.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So you have good luck to the applicant.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 105-9752, 727 West Roxbury Parkway. This is a first floor, one-story addition of 2 bedrooms. One bedroom is 15 by 18, the other is 16 by 8. The violations, Article 10, Section 1, parking spaces on the front yard, limitation of off-street parking. Article 50, Section 29, the rear yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Margaret Clark, 727 West Roxbury Parkway. My sister Julia and I purchased the house as a single-family home at the end of 2018. We purchased with the intent of living in the home long-term and would therefore like to build an addition of 2 bedrooms to the back of the house. First floor bedrooms. It is currently a 2-bedroom house, both bedrooms upstairs. We are also asking for relief to continue to park in the existing driveway, which we are currently progressing with a permit to convert a garage to a family room. Although that permit did ask us to submit additional parking to the side of the house, which would be considerable additional hardscape to that 49-foot driveway, pulling it off to the right and very likely requiring us to remove a double white oak tree that is on the property. So we're asking for 2 reliefs. One, to park in the existing driveway, and secondly, to build the 2 bedrooms to the back of the house, which has insufficient rear setback because the house itself, although compact and on a fairly sizable lot, it's set far back on its front lot.
Are you on the West Roxbury part of the parkway or the Rosendale side of the parkway?
West Roxbury.
On the West Roxbury side of the parkway?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And, okay, so, let's see. So the only thing, so what we're looking at is the 1-story addition. How are the plans, Mr. Ehrlich?
The drawings for the addition are fine. The proposal for the driveway, well, it's an existing driveway, and it's sort of right on the cusp of being front yard parking, but it's existing. But the curb cut is unnecessarily wide. Unfortunately, it's the existing curb cut.
Correct. It's a double car curb cut.
Yeah, I mean, there's really there's no need for that. And then once again, it gets us into the situation where you've got a 20-foot curb cut and for 2 spaces, and it's a net zero, but these are existing conditions, so I don't think much we can do about it.
Actually, this is right across the street from the end of my street on the West Roxbury side. And I think it's the issue that the front yard parking is created because of the conversion of the garage into living space.
Correct.
So, okay. So the plans for this proposal are adequate, the driveway is existing. Is anybody here to speak in support of this proposal?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Faisal Sharif with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support of the proposal. My colleague, Jack Duggan, did hold an abutters meeting in early March on this project. They do have the support of their abutters, and they also have the support of the West Roxbury Neighborhood Council. At this time, we have no further concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Peter Favorito from Councilor O'Malley's office. The councilor would like to go on record in support of this project as well.
Thank you. Any other hands raised?
Madam Chair, the secretary here, we have 3 letters of support from the neighbors, and we also have Jack Duggan's letter and the mayor's support for the project.
Thank you. Any other hands raised?
Madam Chair, no other raised hands.
May I have a motion,
Madam Chair, we
please?
didn't ask for opposition.
I'm sorry?
We did not ask for opposition.
Is anybody to speak in opposition?
Madam Chair, we do have 1 letter to the secretary here opposed to the front yard parking.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with BPDA design review.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 10.
Thank you.
Sorry, good luck.
Thank you.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 105-3603, 9 Keswick Street. This is to add living space into the basement, no occupancy change, extension of a living space only. The violations, Article 61, Section 8, excessive FAR. Name and address for the record, please.
Is the applicant on the line?
I don't see the applicant, but I'm just going through the callers.
Thank you.
Pick up the cleaner.
I don't see the applicant, Madam Chair.
Okay. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to deny without prejudice.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will now adjourn until noon time to hear the interpretation. Just a reminder that we need representatives of the interpretation at noon time is for 54 River Street, Ward 17. We'd like to make sure that the owner of the property is on the line, or a representative of the owner, and the person who brought the request for the interpretation is also available. So the meeting is adjourned until noon time.
Madam Chair, just a point of inquiry. This is Ed Coburn from the Inspectional Services Department. We have a request from the applicant and counsel for the applicant to go back on the record with respect to 65 Gove Street to clarify some points and questions that were raised by the board. So I'm just relaying that I communicated that to you in the chat. I'm just relaying that to you now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Both are standing by. 65 Gove, it was the first matter heard at 10.
Yes. I know that the applicant probably is really interested in having that reduction in the parking spaces, but, you know, this is something that is not, I don't know why we should reconsider this. Is there a compelling reason that we should reconsider this?
We'd have to ask the applicant. We can put him into we can put Attorney Lenz back in the call.
Mr. Lenz, please do it quick. Put your name and address on the record, and Steph, can you please call up Grove Street?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you hear me? Am I unmuted?
Yes, and please be quick.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to come back on. I wanted to just reiterate, I know the concern that was raised about the parking was, you know, the net gain that would be allowed and, you know, with respect to a curb cut. I wanted to stress, and my client certainly wanted me to point out that, you know, there is approved a double curb cut, or at least the double width curb cut for the two parking scheme that was under the original proposal. By reducing it to one, we'd actually be reducing the size of the curb cut as well. So the impact, and certainly I fully understand BTD and the board's concern, but the impact would be the same either way. We'd be taking almost the width of two parking spaces with a double door versus one parking space with the single door. So I just wanted to see if that was something the board would consider. And I know in this environment it's a little difficult to communicate with my client as he's remote, but I wanted me to stress the fact that it was a real, you know, important reason why.
Okay, hold on, Mr. Lenz, can you hold on?
Sure.
Steph, can you please pull up the drawings? And Mr. Ehrlich, do you have access to those drawings?
I do.
Okay.
Is Mr. D'Amico from BTD on the call?
I don't get a sense that he is. I suspect that's why he contacted us ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, he made pretty clear the BTD's position was for non-approval.
Right.
Denial.
And I understand, and you can see from this plan here, so we're showing the one parking space. You would actually be doubling the width of that curb cut in order to include that, and then obviously reducing the studio down to a probably substandard size unit. So the two, I guess, principal reasons to make the modification, or at least as we felt would address the concerns, the policy concerns, was that we would also be reducing the curb cut as well as increasing the studio unit to ensure a compliant size unit. So I know, and I understand the policy. I just want to make sure we're clear on the record that this may be, you know, a distinction with a difference because of the curb cut that was approved with the two parking spaces. And again, we did make that very clear to the community as part of this process, and there was no objection.
Yes, can you all hear me? This is David Lank, the applicant. Thank you, Attorney Lenz. Thank you, members of the board.
Hold on. This is not a free-for-all. Let's just hold off right there. Mr. Lenz, you're representing the applicant. May I have a comment from Mr. Ehrlich in your reconsideration of that plan?
I mean, what Mr. Lynn said is accurate, which is that there was a double wide curb cut originally, and now it's single. But I mean, we either sort of stick to this policy or we don't, and we have historically followed the BTD's recommendation.
Yeah.
So in this situation, I'm not all that inclined to want to reconsider.
Okay, so given that information, let's restate the motion, which was approval with BPDA design review and the proviso was a hatch and no parking, with non-approval of the parking. Can we just restate that for the record, please?
If you'd like me to make a motion again.
Yes, please do.
Okay.
Or reaffirm the motion.
Or could, Madam Chair, can we make it subject to BTD approval as well, if we're able to?
No. It's us making the decision here. It's not transferring it to another organization, another agency. Okay? So basically what we're saying is we are iterating our decision. Okay? May I have a second to that?
I'll second that motion, Secretary.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The board is now adjourned until noon time. Thank you.
Madam Chair, would you like me to call it into the record right now?
Can you hear me?
If we can just, one moment so we can promote the applicant from the attendee list.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, I'm here.
would you like me to call this into the record when you want, just give me the nod?
Please, can you hear me? Yes, please do.
Okay. We're back in session here, the call of the chair and the interpretation for 12 p.m. Case BOA 1020647, 54 River Street. The purpose is the petitioner seeks a determination that Inspectional Services Department erred in issuing the permit. The permit was issued as an allowed use.
Can I see that?
Name and address for the record, please.
Can I have Mr. Paul Clark or a representative from Mr. Clark on the line, please, and identifying themselves?
I do not see Paul Clark on the phone.
I do see a raised hand on the attendee list.
I do. Susan, are you here on behalf of Paul Clark?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, are you here on behalf of Paul Clark?
Yes, I'm here on behalf of all the abutters. Paul should be, Paul is on the call, or he was as of a few minutes ago, but I'm here representing all the abutters.
So please put your name and address on the record.
My name is Susan Lombardi Verticelli, and I live at 3 Taylor Terrace in Mattapan, 02126.
Okay. May I have the representatives of the owner for 54 River Street on the line? Please let me know that they're available.
Attorney Moranci is muted. I believe he is here on behalf of the owner.
Okay.
Go ahead, attorney. He's muted again.
Sorry, Attorney George Moranci. I have a business address of 350 West Broadway in South Boston on behalf of the respondents.
Okay, and is there somebody from ISD to represent this case? Okay. As you know, we heard the merits on, let's see, on January 28, 2020, on 54 River Street in Mattapan. We referred this to the law department, and we have received a document that is purely attorney-client information here that they have shared with us as board members. And based on their information, I want to just confirm that in fact the building is within 20 feet of the rear lot line, is not within 20 feet of the rear lot line. Can somebody confirm that to me, Mr. Moranci?
Madam Chair, my understanding, based upon the testimony from the Inspectional Services Department at the hearing, which was in turn based on field inspections, is that that is the case. I don't have personal knowledge. I have not verified that myself, but as I say, my recollection is that that was the testimony of the Inspectional Services Department.
Thank you. Given that the law department has looked at all the information and based on that has advised us that ISD did not issue the permit in error. So may I have a motion stating that that the permit was properly issued?
Madam Chair, point of order, there is a raised hand among the applicants.
Who are we hearing from? Who is the raised hand from?
It's the Susan Lombardi Verticelli.
Ms. Lombardi, is there a question that you have for us?
Yes, Madam Chair. I do think it's important, given how stressful this entire development has been for the entire neighborhood and the abutters, that it's important that the abutters be heard today, as well as those who are opposed, including members of the City Council and the Mayor's office.
That is, thank you for that, but we have already gone through that process of hearing all the testimony and getting everything, all the information on the record. Today's listing on the agenda is just to render a decision. So thank you for your comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. However, we have not received in writing a response to the full brief that we were asked to submit at your request. And it was through that brief with...
Yes. So the way that these interpretations work is that the full request of all information from both parties is submitted to the Law Department on our behalf. They review that information and render an opinion to this board, and which we will now share with you. So,
Madam Chair. Yes, Madam Chair.
May I ask the Ms. Ambassador to please mute everybody but for the board members? Thank you. So given that information that we have as board members received, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to concur with the advice of the Law Department that the ISD did not err in the issuance of the permit.
May I have a second?
I'll second that, Secretary.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We have now concluded with the last item on the agenda. The meeting is now adjourned. The meeting for July 7th is now adjourned. Thank you.